Back working on Hot Donna, and I think you can see what today's priority is. So today, I want to get the drivetrain in it. Drive shaft, jack shaft, chain case. Of course, the track has to go in when the drive shaft goes in, all that stuff. And get the skid underneath it. Should take like an hour, right? Yeah. I got to clean up parts. I got to go through and choose parts. I got to press bearings on and off. It'll be all afternoon, but should make a good episode for you guys. So follow along as I do this work. So one really nice thing I got going for me is that I have choices because I took apart that SPX project sled. So these are the drivers from the SPX, and these are the ones that came off of Hot Donna. And they're not horrible, but you can certainly see some wear there. In general, I'm going to go with SPX stuff when I can because it's only got like 33 or 3,700 miles, whereas Hot Donna had 10,700. So for sure, this drive shaft. Now, the jack shaft. This was the SPX. This Hot Donna. I mean, it's had some powder paint flaking off. It's not the end of the world. I could use it, but I like this plated one better, and it's in decent shape. So even though that's a higher mileage, we're going to use that. So chain cases, well, so we've got the stuff that came off of this 10,700 mile sled. We've got SPX stuff. And then when I bought it, remember that Chris included this reverse chain case with it. Obviously, we're going with the reverse chain case. Gearing, we'll see what we can fit with the reverse. It had a smallish 20-tooth top gear. And you can see that what originally came on this sled was a, 24. So, you know, I wouldn't mind gearing it down a little. I believe this is halfway between at like a 22. It's not stamped on it. But we'll see how that all works. Ooh, but complication. Is this Hyvo or silent chain? Oh, this is silent chain right here off of the SPX. So this is out. So if you look at the shape of the tooth, you see it's got this little kick in here. This one doesn't. That's Hyvo. And this one is also Hyvo. So it looks like my choices are the 20-tooth or the 24-tooth. At least that's what it looks like today. That's not to say I couldn't change the gear later, but one of the two of those is going in today. So we'll see if the 24-tooth fits with it or if it doesn't. I'm not going to feel real bad if I gear it down some. I mean, I'm not trying to go 110 miles an hour with this thing. I'm just trail riding it, and gearing it down, well, it's going to make it pull better on the bottom end. Although I think the 800 motor probably has enough there anyways. So there you go. I'm going to get after it. Start by changing out this bearing and this bearing. And then we'll start laying the stuff into the sled. All right, dug around in my stash. Found some bearings that I had bought a while ago. 351-4525, I believe, is the number. They're kind of smeared off the bag, but you can go to the online Polaris parts catalog and confirm. I don't know. Do you guys know? Leave a comment if you know where to get these aftermarket. These spherical bearings that press onto the jack shaft and the drive shaft. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to swap them out quick. So I want to show you guys this about the press fit. Don't be too spastic about the depth of press on the drive shaft. It's a really light press fit. It is a press fit. I can't quite put it on with my fingers, but look. So put your chain case side together first, and then when you tighten up your flanges after the chain case is all together, no worries, it'll pull it to where it's supposed to be. All right, I've been cleaning and prepping some stuff. So I got the chain case loaded up with new bearings and new seals. And yep, I do run sealed bearings in the chain case. I think it's a belt and suspenders thing against leaks. Got a new chain case gasket. Yeah, the old ones last forever, but it's cheap. It's cheap insurance. And then you can see the drive shaft's in, and I got an 1.25" Ripsaw on here. So that ought to be pretty good for the track. So I got to convert this chain case over to reverse, and I'm going to do it before I put it in. I suppose you could do it in the sled. First step, just spin that off, and hopefully that carriage bolt stays pressed. That carriage bolt, that's the reason why I'm using this chain case. This is the one that was on that SPX. And let's get a little red Loctite out. Give it a little bit on those threads there. And all right, so we'll put a little red Loctite in here. And just spin her down. These later sleds are nice in that they have 2 flats to torque it. And that is appreciated. So there you go. That's part 1. Now part 2, let me wipe up all this Loctite before I have a sticky mess everywhere. Part 2, there's a wear plate right here in every reverse case, at least every reverse case I've ever seen. And we'll swap that over too. All right, you can see it's been doing its job. There is indeed some wear on that. And, you know, these are going to kind of self-tap, but I suppose a little red Loctite wouldn't hurt here either. All right, converted to a reverse case. Just that easy. Well, I did it to myself. 1 flange bolt, 2 flange bolts. Oh, but that darn 3rd flange bolt that's got to go in before the track, hopefully. It's going to be a pain now. So here's my setup. Really long vice grip, and I'm going fishing. And I'm not going to show you guys because A, I can't get the camera in there, and B, there's going to be a lot of swearing. Got it. That big long vice grip thing didn't work so good. So this is what I did. I did a magnet on a stick, put the bolt on like that, and was able to bullseye it right in there. Really not the worst thing I've done. Still, I don't know how I could have possibly got the camera in there for you guys to see it. I made my call in the gearing. So I'm going for the 2040 for the summer, in case I run into any sort of a short grass drag opportunity. Don't need the legs for that. So next is checking the gear alignment with a straight edge. And I can tell that I need to add a shim behind that lower gear. So there's a spacer that's always there, but it needs one more shim. And look what was in this chain case. That would be pretty close to right. So let me get that in. All right, next step. So we've got the big outside gear down here, and we got to put this spring and this cup on it. And it's always fun to get that bolt started, but I'm just going to use a shallow socket on the electric ratchet. And where the heck is my blue? Here's my blue Loctite. So this is a patch bolt originally. Needs something. I don't know how many times that patch has been used, but we'll blue Loctite it. It'll be fine. All right, sounds like my battery's going dead, but I will get that torqued the rest of the way. All right, I got the chain case together, and it's out of a Gen 2, so it's got this pull-type shifter, which, if I get the gears to mesh, just shifts really nice. Does this little over-center action here, and shifts back. So she's a thing of beauty. So I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm going to have to probably drill a hole in my console or something, but whatever. We'll make it work. At least I got reverse, right? Well, it's finally time. I'm going to jam the skid in now. And putting a skid in by yourself, well, it's not as good as when your buddies are here, and more hands are better, but I'll get it in there. Well, step one of getting the skid in went pretty easy. It slid through there, not too badly. So step two is getting it lined up with the holes in the tunnel. And I'm going to have at her. All right, we're working her down in. We're just about to the ratchet strap phase, where I'm going to use a couple ratchet straps to pull the skid back to line this bolt up. I can adjust the altitude with the chain fall there, but do need to help pull it back a little. Oh yeah, and I did notice this. I forgot this bolt earlier. It's in the chain case now. So other than filling it with lube, the chain case is complete. Here's the results of the ratchet straps and the chain fall for altitude. I got this hole almost perfect. Put the screwdriver in, tweaked her a little bit for the last 1/16 of an inch. And there we go. No stress, no strain. JGib550 made a YouTube comment that he put a Camoplast Ripsaw in his 99 XCR800 and it was rubbing on the tunnel protectors. Well, I looked, and let's get up in here. I gotta lift up the flap, but sure enough, I could see where it would. It clears a little bit right now, but I'm sure when I rev it up, it's gonna balloon out and rub up there. So I got a couple different options, and I might do one or both. Well, I'm going to do one for sure. I'm not going to run studs, so I'm going to put in these much lower, like roughly half-inch tunnel protectors. I grabbed them out of an old TX chassis I found out back. Should be fine. I mean, in theory, without studs, I probably don't need any tunnel protectors, but we'll put those in. Another possibility is that you could probably go to some smaller wheels. This is going to be really hard to get up in here and show you, but there is a pretty good amount of room up there between the top of the shock and the track. Enough that you could go to some significantly smaller wheels and get some space that way. I don't know that I'm going to do that. I'm going to start with the tunnel protectors, and then we'll see how it looks. All right, I got those tunnel protectors out. It was not difficult. I just ran down the line and drilled all the rivets, and I got them lined up, and here's the great news. All the holes are there and in the right place on the TX protectors. There's even an extra hole here. This is under the cooler, and this is under the cooler, so we won't need these two. There was never a rivet in there. And then even all the way to the front. The holes are all there except for these two at the very end, but no big deal. We'll just sandwich them together, line up the holes, and drill those. And I'll probably shorten this very front piece off to match this just because. And way back here, I don't think it matters much that this is that tiny bit shorter. So, problem solved. I did have to drop the back bolts out of the skid in order to get those tunnel protectors out. If I didn't, they just sort of rammed into the close off here. So, all good. I guess next step is drill a couple holes, shorten them that much, and put them back in. All right, easiest way to line up the holes. I just laid one rail on top of the other and dropped drill bit through the hole. And I'll just drill out those last two holes. No big deal. I got the tunnel protectors up in there. You can see they're up in there like they should be. And I got my Clecos here holding them on. And those are 3/16 Clecos, and I definitely drilled all the rivets out with the 3/16 hole. But a lot of those rivets are kind of wobbled out, so I think I'm going to go with quarter on the reinstall. Now, let me show you what a Cleco is. So a Cleco is a temporary rivet, and as you extend it out, it gets small enough to fit through the hole. And then there's a wedge thing that opens up those two prongs as it retracts back in, and it snugs everything up nice and tight. Clecos are great, and they're cheap, and you should definitely buy some, especially if you do a lot of rivet work on a lot of snowmobiles. Very helpful. All right, that's done. 1/4 inch rivets all the way down. Got those tunnel protectors, and that's plenty for a rubber track. You know, all I needed was a little something to make sure I didn't rub the track on the cooler. Rubber track isn't going to chew anything up. These are all the same height. It ought to be fine. All right, let's get you back up in the tunnel, show you the final results. Plenty of clearance up there. Looking real good. So, there we go. And honestly, I mean, look, the wheels are actually ahead of the coolers. There's not really much risk to the coolers back here. So, I don't know. I'm calling it good. I think it looks great. We're going with it. All right, as you can see, mission accomplished. I got everything in I wanted to get in. Just did it in a few hours on a Saturday, working at a relaxed pace and stopping to take video. So, to recap, chain case, jack shaft, drive shaft are all in, track and skid. So I'm real happy with that progress today, keeping this project moving. So speaking of keeping the project moving, the patrons give me a ton of motivation to keep this going. So you can see their names up on the screen right now. And if you don't know, Patreon is an offsite website where you basically do like a YouTube membership, but it's not through YouTube, it's through Patreon. Same deal. For $5 or $10 a month, you join up. In addition to getting your name up on the screen, you get to see all the videos early and ad-free, and you'll get extra patron-only posts. Sometimes they're status updates, sometimes they're pictures, and sometimes they get patron-only videos like behind-the-scenes type stuff. So consider that if you're a big fan of the channel. Another thing I want to mention is everybody that gave us a super thanks. You guys are huge. Super thanks really help with the YouTube algorithm, and it really helps get the channel promoted. It's probably the biggest thing anybody could do to help get this channel promoted out to other viewers on YouTube. Really appreciate you. If you see your name up on the screen right now, it's because you gave me a super thanks in the last week or two at the time of editing. If you've given one really, really recently, well, it's probably coming up on another video, and the videos don't always come out in order. If I go out and look at somebody's collection or a swap meet, you never know where that falls within this sled build. So anyways, huge thanks to all the super thanks people. Thanks to all the patrons. Thanks to you for watching. Hit subscribe, and we'll see you at the swap meets.